Hi again. We're going to be working right now with a camera for Blu-ray cinema on Cinema 4D. So before I start, let's give you some explanation what it's a camera is all about. Let's go to these images. Let's see. Um, give you some details, and then we will see these all of this explanation into the interior render, maybe for you to understand much better. We have, as you can see, f-stop. That's what determine into the camera how much light go through this opening. And as you can see, and it is quite obviously, f-stop number of 1.4, it is like the higher value, the open one, and so it means if it is as much open as it showed in the image, so much light will go inside. So higher the value, less light will be captured for the f-stop number will capture less light into your camera. So as you can see, Blu-ray for Cinema 4D most of the time have an f-stop of 8.0. So less light is gonna be going through this hole than the f-stop of 1.4. Just it's sort of a way to understand. Instead you may changing settings of a light into Cinema 4D like the sun. The sun, for example, you can change the value. The value that you gotta make changes is the f-stop number, the camera, to maybe make the much more light go through the lens or less light go through the lens. So you can just look this on internet, guys. F-stop number for the camera. So this is just to show you what that it means. We will see it in details into Cinema 4D. So let's go to Cinema. Um, for the camera, go to Blu-ray Reach, cameras. We're going to be using Blu-ray physical camera all the time for our rendering, guys. As you can see, we already set the camera. If you click in here, we are already inside of a camera, and this tag, if you click on it, let's bring this up. This is the detail what we were talking about. As you can see, we have film ISO for 100, f-stop number, it has 8, and shutter speed is set to 200. As I said before, f-stop number, as you can see in this image, 8.0 of an f-stop is a really small hole where the lights will be going through. So I would just set some light in here just to give it an example. Let's go for the arrow light and set it outside of a render of a model actually. Let's just move it just a bit. Let's set this up. Okay, let's just give him some details to the light, then we go to explain all of this later. Okay, let's see what it show cinema with Blu-ray with these values. This is the default value that the cameras brings of attack is f-stop number of 8, frame ISO of 100, and a shutter speed of 200. Let's just click on render and let's see what happened. As you can see, guys, this is a very dark image. It's really bad actually. So you can see it's still like too dark image. So let's close this down, guys. Okay, let's close this down. Let's go for a camera. Let's see what we were showing this image. Right now it is set to 8.0. I would set this just to maybe I will make some drastically change. I would set it to 2.0 just to see what happened. So as I was explaining before, 2.0 it is actually quite bigger whole, so it means that much more light will be going through this. So my render has to be very clear, as you can see, even though that we haven't finished the render, it is like quite clear right now because of overvalue. As I said, we don't make changes of a light of a sun. We set it every light, even artificial light or sunlight, to a number of values established for lighting. We don't make changes of it. We just make changes of aperture of our camera. So as you can see, it is very clear on a couple of stuff is already burning on the image. As you can see, these blue details, it means that the image is already burning up. Let's see. If we click here, down here, you can determine, or actually, V-Ray can determine by you what is burning already on the images. What it means, the pressure of your camera has to be in a higher value of a light. Need to be maybe a little bit farther, or make some changes the light of the camera at the end, because with this on, it means that something is burning in there. So try to have this on when you're trying lights, even artificial or natural lighting. Just try to keep this on just to see all of the details. So I will close this down, as you can see, guys. So let's go to camera again, and I will set this to an 8 for an f-stop number, and a firm ISO on an interior render. For my own experience, I always use this to for 100, and shutter speed we'll set it to 50, maybe 30 or 20, depends how the renderer looks. Let's just click render and see again what happened, how the things look like. So let's see, guys. This is how the render looks like. So it looks like much better. When we're talking about lighting, it looks much better, guys. So don't worry about it. It's very noisy at the meantime, because we want to make some changes just to fix all of the noise that the images have right now. So as we're working just with lighting, determine if it is quite bright or not. We don't care so much about noise for the meantime, so don't worry about it. As you can see, it looks good for me already. I mean, it's the lightings look okay, but this is not about lighting, it's about camera. Just trying to let you know how to set your camera if you feel that it's actually too dark in there, you can close this down again to set. If you bring this down, so you will have a clearer image. If you bring this up, you would darken your image. Okay, so as we already set the lighting, as I said, we don't make changes of light. We set it as we already know. I will give you all of the details about lightings, how to, what's the correct amount that it has to be set, and then we just made changes of our camera. So we have it on 50. I will set this to 20 just to see what happened on my interior render. Let's go again. So before ending, I already can see that it's my image is burning up a bit. So, but let's just finish the render just to see how it looks. As you can see, guys, our lighting already looks like okay. So as I said before, don't worry about how noisy the image is, cause later we wanna be working on this. But talking about lighting, I mean, it looks good to me. So, but I would set it like a little bit lower, cause as we're gonna have some other lightings, lightings for these lamps, some another area lighting from another side to give it a chromatic contrast. Maybe some lighting behind, some lighting at the top. So when we start giving all of the details of lighting, I will set this to a better, lower value, just to make it a little bit darker, the primary light. But as we're not talking or I'm actually explaining lighting, just camera, I don't care for the meantime. But as you can see, just with these details, it looks good, my render. If I want, I just can give it lots some materials and leave it just the way it is, guys. Let's close this down and let's go for camera again. So I said click on the tag. Let's go to lens parameters. Just trying to explain to you guys how this three things works. As I said, firmized will be always on 100 for the interior render, and f-stop it will be an 8. I won't change those details. I won't. So shutter speed it will set from 100 to a 20 or maybe 10, depending on maybe the amount of windows we have on an interior render. This can maybe change to 10, but I don't really recommend it. Maybe 20 or 30 to be okay, or maybe 50, depends on the amount of window as I said. Then after, or actually before to start this, I always set my camera into a neutral. So what that means, that even that I have on an orange lighting or a cyan lighting, on a white lighting, that won't change the color of my whole or my entire image or maybe the details of my material. So that's why I have to set this up to a neutral. So this is pretty much for camera. So as I said, white balance to neutral, that's always has to be. And firmware on an f-stop has to set this up, this one for 100, this one to 8, and shutter speed would be for maybe 20 to 100. Depends on the amount of windows you have on your interior render. You have to be making changes of these settings in here. Another thing that that I suggest for you. Then after you have your camera set in your place, just go ahead and give a right click on there, go for cinema 4D text and set up protection for it. That way you don't move your camera, just leave it to the way it is, as you already set in here. It's already it won't make any changes like move it back or maybe up or forward. So as I said, right click on it, cinema 4D text and set up protection to it. This is pretty much everything for camera, guys. It doesn't matter what your interior render would be, it will be the same. So see you for the next steps, working with lighting, some other stuff for cameras as well. Just practicing this, guys, and see you in the next video.